No, that's
All right, can you all hear me?
I don't think it's on. I don't think his is on.
First of all, let's talk about the name of this place. Everybody agrees that the name of this place is Dan. What's fascinating is that the Arabic name of this place fits exactly the Hebrew name. In Arabic, it is called Tel Al-Qadi, which means a judge. And in Hebrew, it is called Tel Dan, which also means a judge. Now, in the book of Deuteronomy, when Moses is just about to die, the last thing he says, he blesses the 12 tribes of Israel. And when he comes to the tribe of Dan, he says, Dan is a lion's cub springing out of Bashan. Dan is a lion's cub pounces out of Bashan. And what do we have here? A water pounces out of the mountain. But remember lion. Now, most cities in ancient times were built on a high hill, a small mountain, next to a water source. You have the city up here, and the spring of water is down over here, down there. So if you want to protect the city, you build wall around the city. But the spring, the water source is outside the city. And that's a problem. If someone is coming to attack the city, if someone is coming to fight the people of the city, to capture, to conquer the city, the first thing they will look for is the water source. If they'll find it, they will besiege the city. They will put guards around the water source. They will wait for a couple of days, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. The people inside the city will run out of water and they will surrender. But here, they didn't have that problem. The city was not built up on a hill or a small mountain. The city was built on the ground level. And the spring was inside the city. So they don't have to worry about water supply. It's not a classic tell. They don't have to worry about water supply. They built wall around the city that is made out of dirt. Not this one, but the one behind it. This is the Ancient Canaanite War. It was built in the 18th century BC. So in other words, when Abraham came, he did not see this wall. He saw the wall behind it. Another interesting fact is that this place had 2 other names before it was called Dan. One is Lashem, and the other one is Laish. And Laish is a biblical word for lion. A lion. What does this place have to do with the lion? Well, actually, 2 answers. One goes back to the blessing of Moses when he said, Dan is a lion's cub springing out of Bashan. But let's forget about the ancient text. Let's talk about nature in antiquity in the Holy Land, in ancient times. In the Holy Land, we had many wild animals. We had lions, we had tigers, we had everything. What we also know that we had lions on the path to Jordan, where there are both water and trees. What do we have here? Did you see the river? The water is surrounded by trees. So you can just imagine a lion is just waiting for a gazelle to come and drink from the water and pounces upon it. So the fact that this place is called lion is something kind of special. Let's talk about the actual story. In the book of Joshua, when Joshua gives out different areas, different lands to different tribes, Dan did not get any place of here at all. Nothing up in the north. Dan was given an area next to Beit Shemesh to Tel Aviv, an area next to Tel Aviv. Yesterday, the airport is in Tel Aviv. Yesterday we drove about 2 hours, 1.5 hours to Tiberias, and we drove another 1 hour to Dan. So Tel Aviv is far away. So why this place is called Dan? Even today, if you listen to the radio and they say that it's going to rain in the area of Tel Aviv, they use a biblical name, which is Gush Dan. But this place is also called Dan. Why? Well, the answer is in the Bible, in the book of Judges. This is a key of understanding Dan, and it says in chapter 18, verse 1, in those days, when Israel had no king, there wasn't enough room for the tribe of Dan in their area. May I remind you that the tribe of Dan is the second largest tribe among the 12 tribes of Israel. So there wasn't enough room in their tribal area. But not only that, the Philistines, the enemies, were very powerful, very strong. They didn't allow the Israelites to capture, always to capture the cities. So there wasn't enough room in their tribal area. Verse 2 says that they sent 5 people of their family to go and look for another place to live in. And that's what happened. But they did not come here straight. They went to a mount called Mount of Ephraim, and they found an idol that you bow down to. Wait a minute, aren't the Hebrews supposed to be monotheist? They're supposed to, but they're challenged, they're tempted. Maybe, they said, maybe there is real gods that are made out of stones. So let's pick one of them. It's interesting that the Bible mentioned this. The Bible wanted to say to us that these people are not beseder. Beseder in Hebrew means okay. These people are not okay. Because they came here, they found people that were eating and drinking. No guards, nothing. They attacked them and they killed every single one of them. But if we go back to the book of Deuteronomy, there are laws of war. You can't just go and attack a city and kill every single one of them. You have to stop. You'll send someone to the gate, and he will say, would you like to surrender? Can we have negotiations? If they refuse, then you can attack the city and take the city. But here they didn't do according to the law. They came, they killed every single one of them. Just like a lion that is waiting for a gazelle to come and drink from the water, and connected to a court at the gate, which is Ruth and Boaz. Boaz wanted to marry Ruth, but he has to go to court to get permission, because there is another man that is waiting in line. So he took 10 of the elders of the city and came to the gate where they had a court of law. Ruth and Boaz and him. So this is original, this is a fake one, this is part of original. This is where you place, can you see them? If the king sits here, He's not gonna sit under the sun. So we found these over here. We actually also found in the excavation his staff with the metal up here. We found this metal part of the scepter. Did you get it? So we're in Dan. The ruins. The gate is not made out of basalt. The wall, can you see the wall is made out of basalt, volcanic rock, but the gate is made out of limestone. Why limestone and not basalt? We're in a volcanic area, it should be basalt. Why limestone? Limestone, it's easier to carve. You have to be exact here. You have to close the gate. So you build the gate of the city, only the gate, with limestone, but the wall you can build with basalt. This was built in the 9th century BC. The one behind it was built by the Canaanites in the 18th century BC by the Canaanites. So when Abraham came, he saw not this one, but the one behind it, the wall that is made out of dirt. All right, do you have any questions? northern Israel. This is the border. This direction. If we can you see the wall? If we walk past this wall, we go down a hill. There's a fence. We can't cross it. This is the border between Israel and Lebanon. On the other side is the border between Israel and Syria. Yes, and we're looking at a four-horned altar. Can you see it?
Yes.
Made in metal. We found it here. We found the original one is much smaller, is small, which is in Jerusalem today. But here they made it much bigger. And this goes back to a story mentioned in the Bible in the book of Kings, when the kingdom after Solomon splits up into two kingdoms. Rehoboam takes Judea, where Jerusalem is, because he's the son of Solomon. And Jeroboam makes a new kingdom, and he called it Israel. That's north of Judea. It starts in Bethel and it ends in Dan. There's a verse also in the Bible. It says that Jeroboam was afraid that the people would go to the temple in Jerusalem. They would go back to the house of David. So he decided to build two temples. One in Dan and one in Bethel. And not only he built two temples, but he changed the dates. The Jews had to go to the temple at least 3 times a year during the 3 holidays. He changed the dates. He put guards in Bethel, the southern edge. He didn't allow his own people to go to Judea, to Jerusalem. He made a temple for his own people and another temple in Bethel, so that they don't go there. He was afraid that his people will go and spend money in Jerusalem, that his people will go and stay in Jerusalem. This is mentioned in the Bible. So he built 2 temples and put 2 golden calves. That's very bad for the Jewish people. So he put a golden calf over here and the golden calf in each one, and the golden calf in Bethel. And instead of saying from Beersheba, from Dan to Beersheba, people would say from Dan to Bethel. And from, let's say, Ramallah to Beersheba is Judea. 2 kingdoms, the Israelites fought each other after King Solomon. So this was the holy place. It's a Jewish temple, but it's a pagan because of the golden calf. Jeroboam was a bad person very bad person in the Old Testament. All right? So this is the edge of the Israelite kingdom. Any questions? This way. this became the second oldest, and the oldest one is also in Israel on the seashore of the Mediterranean in a city called Ashkelon. But this is the second oldest. This is, everyone, this is 3,700 years old. And when Abraham's nephew, whose name was L-O-T, Lot, he's famous because he was living in, yes, Sodom. And when he heard that his nephew was kidnapped and taken up north, it is mentioned in the Bible that Abraham gathered a group of people and went, they prepared themselves for a battle and went and chased them till Dan. When Abraham came here, or this arch was built a little bit before Abraham came here. So there is a very good chance that when Abraham came here, he saw this arch. You can actually see the steps going up. These steps, the entire gate is original. The steps going up into the city, you can see the arch where underneath it is filled with earth. This was the entrance to the city. This was the entrance to, or the main entrance to the city of Dan. If you look at the model here, can you see it? It's a part of a gate complex, 3 arches. You can see steps going up, the same steps. You can see this arch, the main gate, made out of mud bricks, and walls around the city. If you look here, here is the gate, and you can see the wall of the city, which is made out of dirt, this one. It used to be much higher. In the beginning of the Chalcolithic area, cities were built with stones. But something happened in the 18th century BC. They stopped building with stones. They started to build with dirt. Only for hundreds of years. Why? Maybe because it's easier to build, and a wall that is made out of stone, you can break through it. But if it's made out of mud, how can you do it? Maybe it's easier to climb, but I think they made it much higher and much harder to climb. So for hundreds of years, they built wall that is made out of stone. And you can see that the city was not built on a high hill. This was the level, the ground level. And if you want to enter the city, you go up and down, and you get